Hi guys, I'm Krishana and welcome to Krish Connect. Now, this is my space where I do a lot of things. Vlogs. I mean, when I created this page, it was when I was in Zambia and I was basically taking you along the journey of being a Jamaican in Zambia. And since then a lot has changed. Went back to China. Guys, I'm gonna give you the update if you want it. If the views and if the likes and the comments are saying that you guys need the live update, fine, I will give it to you. But this is me just coming back because I want to share some information that persons have been asking for, especially students who are now in their transitionary period from China to Jamaica. So I decided that why not just make a YouTube video? It might help others who are coming along and persons who don't know that I exist, maybe might stumble upon my video years later, and it could help them to know things that they should or should not do, or things that they should be prepared for, whatever. This is me with just some information as it relates to what you should put in place before you get to Jamaica and things that you should expect. So I have a few questions here that I got from some students, new graduates, even some from my friends who are medical doctors who've been getting um, kind of like the same questions from those who are in China. So I'm just going to cover a few. I will have to do a part two, I must say, because most of these questions, they are very vast. So some are talking about exams, some are talking about just day-to-day life. How is it coming back? So I guess the video will have to be in different parts. So for this part, I want to focus mainly on what you should do in China before you get to Jamaica. All right, so first thing that you should absolutely do before you even book your flight back to Jamaica. Number one is that you need to get all your documentations in place. So typically after exams, after graduation, you will maybe like a day or two, you will get all your documents from your school. So your degree certificate, your graduation certificate, all the other documents. I think it's maybe an accumulation of 5 or 6 documents from Wenjo Medical, I can say. You should ensure that you have all of those, including your police record, right? So the police record, you have to go to your consulate. Well, it would be the same office that you would typically do your visas in China. So that same office, you go there, you tell them you need a degree, you need not a degree certificate, you need a police certificate, and they will guide you as to the process of getting one. After you've collected all your documents, you would need to go to your notarizing office, your notarization office in your city, and you will need to get all those documents notarized, right? So the process of notarizing probably takes around maximum 5 days. I don't know if there's a change now, but it's usually a fast process. If you're studying at Wenzhou Medical University, they would usually ask the notarizing team from the city to just come to the school so that after graduation they will just notarize everyone's documents. You will have to pay a fee. Let me try to remember what that fee is. All right, so I don't have the exact fee that I had paid, but I think it was over 1,000 yuan that I had paid. But that was because I was getting multiple copies of each document. So the first thing you need to decide before going to notarize your documents, you need to decide where you want to use these documents. If you intend to practice in the US, Canada, UK, any other country, you need to figure out what their requirements are before leaving. So I know for the US, Canada, UK, and Jamaica, I know the notarizing process for those 4 countries. Other countries like Australia, I'm not so sure. So this information that I'm going to give you is based on those 4 countries, right? Okay, so if you decide that you only want to have copies of your degree, copies of your documents for maybe say the US and Jamaica, then you would say for your degree, you would, for example, say for your degree, let me just do 2 copies. So when I get to Jamaica, I have 1 copy that I can work with for Jamaica, 1 copy for the US, right? So you need to decide how many copies of the documents you would want because that will determine the price that you pay for your notarization. I do suggest, however, that you get as much copies because in the future, if you're supposed to apply for a job elsewhere, they're going to ask for copies of all your documents. So you don't want it to be a case where you don't have enough copies and you wouldn't be able to provide them with those documents, and now you would have to try and get in contact with someone in China for them to now get copies of your documents and notarize them and then send it back to you in whichever country you're in. The process can be tedious, not that they are slow or anything, but Jamaica is so far from China, so it will definitely take some time, and that's headache that you don't want. So I suggest getting enough copies where you know you will always have them. Even if you don't use them, it's not like they're going to expire. From my knowledge, they won't expire. When you're notarizing your documents, of course, you tell them the country that you intend to use them in, whether US, Canada, or UK, wherever, because the notarizing process might be different. So I know for the UK, for Jamaica, and for Canada, it's typically the same way the documents are notarized. But for the US, there's an extra page in that booklet that they will give you. So you will need to get what is called an apostille, which is kind of like a little stamp that, or a seal almost, that makes your document recognizable. So yes, you're going to notarize them at the provincial level, but you will also need to get an apostille. The apostille is only done currently, as I'm giving you this information, it can only be done in Hangzhou. That is if you're studying in Wenzhou Medical University, guys. I don't know about the other universities, but it would be the same information right across the board. Every student that studied in China needs an apostille on their document, right? So, as I said, for those who are studying in Wenzhou, you would have to, there are two processes. It's either you're going to travel to Hangzhou and then you're going to get the document, you're going to get the apostille. I forgot what the name of the office is. Maybe I'll put it up on the screen later. So it's either you can travel to Hangzhou or you're going to ask your notary office to send off your documents to Hangzhou and you pay the fee, the shipping fee or whatever, right? So currently, as I am doing this video, an apostille costs like around 50 yuan to send it. That's for the normal service of 4 days. So you can pick it up in 4 days. Or if you want the express service, that would be like 100 yuan. If you intend to migrate to US, Canada, UK, you must complete this process of getting the apostille certificate. It's a document that is replacing the two-step authentication process. So previously, what they would do is that you would have to get an embassy stamp and a foreign affairs stamp in Beijing. So they've cut out that process of you going to the embassy and the foreign affairs office in Beijing. And so now you can go at your provincial level and then just get the apostille stamp on it, right? After you've gotten all your documents notarized and you've gotten the apostille, then we can say glory to God, your documents are ready. You're ready to leave China. Let me speak on the police record for a bit. Do not leave that country without a police record, right? Anything that you are doing will require you to have one. It does not even have to be as it relates to your degree. Literally anything you will do will require one because you've been living in the country for an extended amount of time. And so they will need to know if you were a noble citizen in that country, if you have any criminal records. Even travel, if you're trying to travel to other countries, they might ask for that police record. So please ensure that you get one. If you intend to start the internship program when you come here to Jamaica, please ensure that you at least try to source some of the instruments, some of the materials that you will need because things are expensive here. We all know that. So, for example, for dental students, you know, when you come to Jamaica, you will have to take the ADEX exam, and I will speak on ADEX in another video. You will have to take that exam and you basically have to buy everything. In China, you can get them way cheaper. So I can provide a list of those instruments and materials that you could get in China before coming because it will be so much easier on you. For medical students, you're going to need all your necessary things, stethoscope, all the other things that you guys use during your internship period. I can ask for a list from some of my friends and then provide you guys with one so it's easier for you. So that when you come to Jamaica, you're not trying to spend so much money just to get things that you would get for cheap in China. Right. But for now, for dental students, off the top of my head, you're going to need your handpiece. Ensure that you get a regular handpiece and a surgical handpiece. Ensure that you have putty, the impression materials, burrs. Get every single kind of burr that you can get. They are cheap. When I was there, burrs were quite reasonable. Get them. They're expensive here. Ensure that you have the rubber dam kit. Get a composite kits. All the other things. So for ADEX, I'm going to speak on ADEX in another video, but just a general idea. Go on the ADEX website or go on Dental Council website, see all the exams that you're gonna need to do, and then just try get the very basic instruments, preferably the ones that could be more expensive. Because for example, like the teeth and the models, I bought mine in the US because the China ones are not specific to ADEX. So things like those you will have to buy when you get home. You just have to spend the money. But for other universal instruments, ensure that you get them before you come, please. Unless you guys are rich. All right, so I did get a few questions. Someone asked me, how soon are you able to sit your board exams? So as soon as possible. Literally, when you come. All right, so if you graduate in June, July, typically as a Chinese graduate, when you come to Jamaica, the next sitting for the ADEX exam would be in November. ADEX exam only runs twice per year, so it's in November and it's in May. So maybe the November exam would be a little bit too sudden for you guys because it requires a lot of practice. So I would suggest is if you're not practicing already before graduation for ADEX, I would suggest that you guys once you get to Jamaica, you start practicing. I came to the country in October. Came to the country in October. When I went to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I was told that they were about to do an interview for the new dental interns. And so it was by God's grace that I got there around that specific period where they were about to start the interviews. So I got through for the internship for the next month, which was November, which was super fast. And usually that's an anomaly because the next intake would have been the January coming. I'm going to get a little bit more information as it relates to this whole process of applying for internship, and then I will come back and make another video. But just know when you come back into the country, you're going to start your internship, and ADEX exam would be the November or the May. Basically, to answer your question, you can do your exam depending on your preparedness. You can do your exam as soon as you get back. So the exam is either in November or May. So you would choose typically when you want to sit the exam. How can you do CE credits? CE credits, you can literally just type it in online. Colgate does some. There are different websites where you can go and you get them for free. So what you would do is that maybe they have some pre-recorded lectures. You watch those lectures. Afterwards, they will quiz you on what you learned, and then they will provide you with a certificate at the end. Before you start your internship program, you will need a basic life support certificate. They will tell you all these things. So no need to worry. When you come, you will be guided as to what you need to do. But just for you to have it in your mind so you're prepared, you will need a BLS, Basic Life Support certificate, before you can start your internship. Please ensure that you get your hepatitis B vaccine because you are going to be in the hospital environment, so it's required for your own safety. I know in China, it's not a requirement per se for us to get the vaccine, but when you come to Jamaica, you will need to get that vaccine for your own safety. Do you work in multiple clinics or just one place? If you're doing the internship program, depending on which region you are in, you might be placed at one health center or you might be rotated. Your supervisors, they can move you around to any different clinics for you to work. But as an intern, of course, you will work under supervision. What is the lifestyle back home like as a starting dentist? I don't know how to answer this question as it relates to lifestyle. Never thought about it. I guess lifestyle would really and truly depend on who you are as a person. I don't know if you're referring to the day-to-day living in terms of pay or the cost of living as a new dentist. I don't understand where this question is going. But if you're referring to the lifestyle within the clinic as a new dentist, you are going to do everything that any other dentist does. You're expected to know how to do, the basic stuff, but also have some interest in wanting to learn more complex procedures or to deal with more complex cases. If you're in Kingston, St. Andrew, those regions, I guess some of those interns they rotate through the bigger hospitals. If you're at a health center in rural communities, then you won't have that experience. So I guess it just depends on where you are, because some interns they rotate through KPH, through maxillofacial surgery. If you're in any of the other parishes outside of Kingston, you won't get that experience. At least that's to my knowledge, you won't. Unless you ask specifically to be placed there, and that would also depends on what your region decides. So I hope that I could bring a little bit more insight into what the transitionary period is going to be like for dentists and also for medical students. I know I didn't speak much about the medical students, but maybe I could get one of my friends to join in on the video so they could shed a little bit more light. As I said, I will make a part 2 that will be a little bit more organized. So I will make a part 2 about your ADEX exams and specifically how to apply for your internship. So until then, I will see you guys in the next video. You can drop your questions in the comment section, or you can reach out to me on Instagram or via email. I'll put it on the screen somewhere so that you guys can get as more insight as you like. Please take care of yourselves. And as I said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.